So as a leader and a competent leader, you must exemplify how the manner of the kingdom is. Are you listening to me today? The vision was given to you by God. Before you keep talking about it and then trying to drill it into people through word of mouth, you have got to exemplify. Do I have a church today? So in chapter number 8, Jesus is walking in that journey. Chapter number 9, he still has the same demonstrations that are working in his life. Chapter 8 and chapter 9, these are basically demonstrations of what the kingdom looks like and what being a competent leader does look like. I like how Mark says it in chapter number 2, chapter 1 and 35. He says, early in the morning, before day, Jesus rose early and went into the wilderness to pray. So here is Jesus still modeling the way of life that his disciples must have. He would go far into the place of prayer. We learn in Luke 11 and 1, after they had observed that Jesus had something unique on him. Here are the 12 that are watching Jesus. They say, teach us to pray as John also taught his disciples. In other words, they're saying we're noticing something phenomenal that is over your life and we can't just let it go. We have heard you prophesy that a little while you are with us and a little while you're no longer there. And so before you go, we've got to grab everything that you have. Moses had the similar experience with his protege Joshua. Joshua watched intently how the man walked with the Lord, how the presence of the Lord was literally over Moses. And the Bible says when Moses passed on and went into glory, Joshua is confident and he assumes the same role. Brothers and sisters, Joshua wasn't just a military leader, he was a prophet par excellence. He led Israel into a promised land that demands a prophet of God who hears directly from God. Their first battle, when they brought down the walls of Jericho, it was after an instruction. But how did Joshua get this? He was watching his leader. Every moment he was watching the leader that was going ahead of him. The same is true of Elijah and Elisha. Before the mantle sits on Elisha, Elisha has got to watch what Elijah is doing. This morning I was meditating as I was preparing for this service that there are many mantles that are hanging in the air. There are many servants of the Lord that have been raised by God, that have been given commissions and assignments, but there are certain mantles that I will never get in my life because I have not followed after. But there is a mantle that I'm sure is definitely going to be resting over my life because I have watched intently, I have observed carefully. I know you are earmarked for greatness, but baby, who's been raising you up, who trained you in the things that you're doing, who commissioned you for the assignment that you're working, who raised you for the work that you are doing. Are you listening to me today? I said, are you listening to me this afternoon? There has got to be somebody that you model your life after. This whole idea of I'm sufficient and I can do it is just madness and it's not wise. There is somebody that has walked the journey I had. So Jesus now watches in chapter number 10 very well. The Bible says he called his 12 disciples. They were just followers of him. Today, a disciple is a follower. It is one that follows after. That's what a disciple is. He said, make disciples of all nations. Let them follow after me. So in chapter number 10 at the opening, they were followers. They were day and not day type of followers. They were following everything that he was doing. But in chapter number 10 and verse number 2, the conversation finally changes. They are now apostles. What is an apostle, Bishop? An apostle is a sent one. He's one that comes from our camp and we send them on assignment. Initially, they were the ones that were following. Now we are sending them. I feel God driving me this afternoon